Alright. Let's get into it, shall we? I'm guessing it plays music. It is a music box! Quick, take this to a private room and put the disc in! It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. That's why he didn't take it, he didn't have the disc! I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. Playback Mr. McGilden's disc deposited at Windibanks at much the same time. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilden's disc, it was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. Why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that this brickmaster was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilden? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc. I'm not sure if we should do that in front of a crowded audience. Wait, my lord! What is the meaning of this, Inspector? Music box and the disc are, they're unrelated. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music. Gregson, just say the government needs... Prosecution has no objection. Police property! Clearly Scotland Yard has some vested interest here. The policy is prosecuted to leave no avenues unexplored, and you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction to prevent that from happening. Sorry, Gregson, we're gonna reveal government secrets on a music disc. Morse code! What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No. Just the same note playing over and over again in irregular sequence. Ha ha ha. Mr. Graydon? This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. It's playing Morse code! Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. The officer sent to fetch it and didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Oh, with much regret. So the court must accept this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Come on! Sorry, it does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from this music box possibly be a new clue? It could be a clue! I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel! Mere noise! I fail to see how this can have any meaning whatsoever! Sounds strange, I agree. There's one thing bothering me. My Graydon stands there chortling victoriously. The inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. If Gregson recognizes the sound and seems familiar with it somehow, that's making him appear extremely on edge. That's the stance of the defense, my Japanese friend. Answer me this! Oh? Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? Defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is... not music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that! The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here, it must be. I'm making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like her. sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Japanese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it would be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken, refusing to accept that pact. It is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is. Yet. Bruno. Just examine the music box very thoroughly. Fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really, the way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Alright, well, the music box isn't broken. This means the sound it's producing has some significance that isn't musical. Ah! Could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Juris number 5. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing! Going to have to press the defense for an answer. Your assertion that the sounds produced by this music box are not music at all. Then what the devil is it, counsel? The evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer. Prosecution demands that my learned Japanese friend presents proof now, tangible proof at least of this wild speculation. Alright then, could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. Alright, it's going to join all the dots together. Evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on this music box disc is... What does it say? Classified secrets leaked overseas. Secret communication intercepted. No, not that. That's the paper?
Take that!
It's about all I've got. Today's paper, counsel. Headline is Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. Hardly supported of the cause. No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down. Ministry mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice. Yes, it's a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand. Heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. Presumably those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams. Of course. Juror number 5, your input please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever is the matter? I told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. The particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports. Oh, yes! We're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? You don't mean to say, is it... That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it! Now, correct me if I'm wrong. When it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Order! Order! Please, everyone, order! But this. This is high treason, Council, deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is this? Treason. And what is capital punishment? Sorts of words I'd have expect you to know. For our sovereign governments, confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished. The all-important disc lay unclaimed at the pawnbroker. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry that the disc would be discovered before it found its way out of the country. It would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. In order to do that, he would have to gain entry into the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night, because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded the crime under scrutiny in the trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank. That being a most flagitious offense for which the law of the lands sanctions a capital punishment. Heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed.
Hold it!
Gregson! You two? Can't let us have rabbit and pork here, Governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. We ain't baddies enough to sell out our own motherland. That's right. We're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. I like how they keep trying to bring Gregson into their little team. Mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. Some low-class brick maker negotiated with McGilded, was it not? I have no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into the camp the other night like we were told to do. If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. One Mr. will do, Governor. What's up? Take it that you now admit to the crime, that on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally. And moreover, you did so as a party of three in cooperation with Mr. Graydon here. We did, Gov! We did! Ha ha ha! Write them down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. Was supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about the geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor bloke didn't have to die, did he? Ugh. Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, it has, I will admit, into the court record as evidence. Yay! Thank you, your lordship. Alright, before we get into your counter, let me look at this here music box real quick. What's that? Oh! I just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. That is another movement on the other side. There's a second disc? You need 2 discs to play this stupid thing to find out government secrets? A different tone? What? What's going on here? So this is a double... Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Hold it!
I'm gonna start pressing him. Juror number 5. You're a communications station officers on as lonely as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing telegraphs used by the ministry. Mr. Gradon is a team leader. That's fascinating. Gradon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idols. Stop. So you had access to the equipment used for these confidential communications, Mr. Gradon. Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. In any case, all messages sent are in cipher. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand. Oh no, stop. I'll say something. Stop. Mr. Gradon regularly attends meetings with ministry technicians and the ministry communications team. We assist them in ensuring there are no errors in important international communications. You see the top prize at the cipher cracking convention 5 years in a row. Not exactly building yourself up here, Mr. Gradon. He's a highly skilled operator. He's an idol. The idol would appreciate it if you'd keep your mouth shut. Those accusations are completely unfounded. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. They're not? Anyone with a brain that would be blatantly apparent on listening to the music box reads in a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be. My learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. I need Sholmes to bring me the copy of the music disc. I'd be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. Ah, thank you, Jurist number 5. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot, a long dash. Combining these two in different ways, you construct letters. Example, this is A. This is B. Listen to the sound produced by this music box. You only hear one tone, don't you? Sounds so similar. The rhythm is the same and everything. No discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. Your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? Music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Stop. Nothing to say but stop. It's so frustrating, isn't it? I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot in place so nicely. Would there still be something I haven't considered? Possible to use this music box to play back Morse code? Give it a try. Though every possibility this music box was instrumental in that leaking of government secrets. It's the belief of the defense.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Japanese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that in Morse code, 2 tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. Better present your idea at once, Counsel. How do you propose this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could be used to cipher secret messages? Well, your lordship, there's a secret button here. We already did this! The secondary movement! Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box. Sounds will both play back at the same time. Good heavens! Chord is heard. Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke! I'm sorry. This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with a second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. May I remind the court, as the witness pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with Mr. McGilden 2 months ago striking a deal over the discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the printmaster. Exactly! I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Greydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere. What do you know about Mr. Mason? He's got blood. Correction, he had blood. Thrice fired Mason. What was his full name? Where are the case files? Mason Milverton. I don't really know much else about Mason. It's not pointless! You're a criminal!
Hold it!
Let's talk about Thrice Fired Mason. Artisan order. I'm expecting you two will slip the information faster than Mr. Greydon will. What? Ash? Mr. Greydon? I stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? You mean to tell me that Mr. Greydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's say Greydon's an old China. An old China.
Excuse me!
What is it, Ringo? Something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? Ah? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who, me? Your brother was testifying just now. He said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have right old laugh together way back when. Together with Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash. I mean, look at him now, his fancy whistling flute. And you wouldn't add him an Evid. When we were younger, he was from the poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? He was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Was coming up with smart ideas. Like what would never have gone through our heads. God blimey, isn't that the truth? Remember the Milverton and Skulkin milk run? Milverton! There's a corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Hey, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? He was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you in your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Add to testimony! Milverton! Graydon, you're a liar! Yes, counsel? My mother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information regarding this case. Very well, counsel. Permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Thank you, Skulkins! You've solved the case! Milverton and Skulkins milk run. Ah, them were the days. Milverton, you say? Like a certain...
Objection!
Oops. I don't need to object to him, I guess. That's okay, you know. Crap! I need to press that. Yeah, how did the national security get up here? Negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus, the break-in at Windibanks, the burning of the bus. Oh, there's some link between the two men. Yes, it is. It's the Skulkin milk run.
Hold it!
Let's talk more about this. I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? The little scheme we had going on back when we was young. It's a bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals. That's what it was all about. Sounds alarmingly legitimate. Must have been a catch. Elaborate on the business name, please. Business was just a bit of fun, you say? Just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved? Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, was it? Yeah, that's it. Where did the Milverton part come from? Alright. Thought clever cogs like you would have worked that one out.
Hold it!
That is. Enough of this! How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel?
Objection!
I don't. Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying? Tell me, why is it that it was only the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well... weren't the happiest of homes that one came from. Yeah. The old man was struggling for money so much, his wife walked out on him. Took the name Graydon then, see? Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton! That used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. Oh, Bancombe. I've been a Graydon since I was born. You really think you can rely on the testimony of two thieves? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details would have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Ah! Oh, it would appear Mr. Skulkin's testimony had been reliable for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Very well. Yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things. It could turn out to be extremely important. His last name was Milverton. Just like Mason. Mason Milverton. Yep. Mr. Mason and Mr. Fancy Pants. I'm gonna present. Oh, hold on. Where's the G button? Here it is. We're gonna save scum just in case. We know we need to present. We just have absolutely no clue if it's here we need to present it or if it's somewhere else.
Objection!
There we go. Right on the money. Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I've here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. As we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with Mr. McGilded, yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaster. That's right, only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say, saints alive! Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaster, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? I don't. As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service. And it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. Grr. Truth is, you've been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to McGilded in collaboration with your father. Ah! New facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth! The truth, you say? You collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel? Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to Mr. McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. Very effective one. I shouldn't have given this scheme any credence whatsoever. But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaster met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, he appeared at Windibanks 2 days ago in an attempt to recover 2 articles Mr. McGilded had pawned there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by police, and the other you never found. That same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time determined to recover the second disc. Are you suggesting the second disc was inside the music box? Huh? We never knew nothing about that. But Mr. Windibank was killed. The intruder of the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone, the music box. Rather ingenious. He demonstrated using 2 prints from the security camera indeed. So the question that naturally begs answering is this: why was only 1 article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall into the hands of police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir, the appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. What? Ah! 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windibank's pawnbroker. 1 took the life of the pawnbroker himself. 1 struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm you seem to be trying to hide is a bullet wound, isn't it? He's got it again now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstance whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember? I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly I was a fool to think I could trust some common black slum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windibanks that night. Paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me. As you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. That is all. I admit nothing more. Stealing the government's secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. It's not going to go down without a fight. Until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact, which is... Well, we know that 1 bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun hit the pouch around Sholmes' waist. The bullet from Mr. Windibank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon in the arm. Indeed, it must. We can rule the other possibility that the man shot himself. That leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windibank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder. Goodness! That's right, Mr. Graydon. Grr. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank that night is you!
Hold it!
Ha 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 ha! You little upstart! You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbrokers. Did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I built myself in the communication station. Did the thought never cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What do you mean? Possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in this case. I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw the very moment the pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You what? Why did you wait until now to say this? Order, order, order! Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. It is shown that your claim is false. You will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully. I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You'll explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. Nothing would give me greater pleasure. Like Sholmes should have shown up at the court sometime. Moment of the shooting. As ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man when he shut himself in the store. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood splatter over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out She threw... Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger. Order, order, order. It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth? Till now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. As I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood splattered over the accused's coat? Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat the pickpocket girl was wearing at the time. Really? Could we somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood? That would be conclusive evidence here. Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. Ideas are no use here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as a basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used, with your lordship's permission. Well, that's not fair! It's someone else's blood! Shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes. But it's covered in Mason's blood! Oh, bollocks! We're in danger. With pleasure, my lord. While we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. If they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be... Counsel! Cross-examination? Let's press every statement we can. Mild-mannered burglars. Wait, but he only... Do we have that in the gun? No. He stole your... She ran... Her gun. Which gun was her gun?
Hold it!
A third gun?
Objection!
Where was he running to?
Hold it!
We can't prove it's Mason's blood. Oh, bother.
Hold it!
Why would you pick it up? I don't argue with that part. He took the third gun.
You little toe rag! Excuse me!
Calm down! Is there an argument between brothers here? Something wrong, Sunshine. Should be my line. You do realize you're just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin. Blimey, this he's a bit of an hooligan, ain't he? What's going on just now? Saw me grab me whistle. Why the blazes, he says. Didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down to the station? Why didn't you? Because we didn't know nothing about it. Or that flaming peephole in the door. Sorry about that. Can be prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not hurt, are ya? God, blimey. Either way it looks at me, I tell ya. This D gives me the willies. That's strange. Spectre doesn't normally get quite worked up like that. He wouldn't normally grab someone. Doesn't like Gregsy at all. Normally all sweetness and light, no matter what I say to him. Yeah, it's a special case. Why don't you ask him the question? Gregson? Oh no. Oh no. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Except to the stains, it would appear that they were the result of splattering following a gunshot or a stab wound. Goodness me! See? What did I tell you? Oh, the blood on that coat is not Mr. Windibanks. What on earth makes you say that? The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windibanks, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milwichin. The blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker.
Objection!
Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Japanese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago, in this very courtroom, you do not argue fervently for Mr. McGilded innocence, and yet, now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer. Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have earned for yourself in this country. That was... I call it a bloody disgrace! Treachery, that's what it is! How to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope couldn't help answer that problem pop out. That can't be done! But, is Mr. Sholmes' specially formulated Sholmes is a detective, not a chemist! Would you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held out Piroski to starving boy. He ran away crying. Sherlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. Proves my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish. How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir? As the witness said, the accused's coat was splattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could have possibly known that fact is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid, and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. Arg! My lord! A long battle this one. This old war horse has something to say now, if you please. Mr. Foreman? At this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now? Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Come on! He's got the bullet wound, he's got the government secrets of treason. It would appear that ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the juror's decision being equally successful. Arg! I don't believe it. But I've come so far. How is it all unraveling on me so fast? Unraveling? No, this isn't to be continued. How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Sholmes? Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Officer? Delivered the report now. That will be all, thank you. Occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo. That scientific truths are determined not by science, by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Ah! Mr. Sholmes! What is the meaning of this? When did he become a Bobby? Order, order! What business do you have here, detective? Last I heard, you were recuperating in a hospital. As well I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand? Hurley, it's really you! You're awake at last! Yes, good day, Iris. Appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me. In what manner, sir? I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time? What say you to this, Lord Van Zeeks? This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already. Exactly! Having spent so long already, we don't want to go wasting any more precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Gregson? I'm highly suspect of whatever the hell you're doing. Hi, Sholmes. Welcome to the bench. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Sholmes, you're alright? Alright. I'm all wrong. Only just managed to summon the strength to stand that. Ask the judge for 5 minutes. I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray, forgive me should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible. Alright, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Ah, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. Never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community, an oversight on my part. Right, honesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? Lavender Furoshiki wrapping, a leaving present from Miss Susato. Susato? Possible. As were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when you asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhanded, that you, fighting fairly as you are wont to do, find yourself in considerable peril at that very moment of crisis. You're to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato? Whatever could it be? The door maker! The machine I made. To make cat doors? Meow. What? Cat Flap-O-Mat? Huh? What's Susie up to? Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? How does this do anything for me? What'd she mean by that, Sholmes? That night, when you left Windibanks in pursuit of thieves, Susato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. She added the flap! It didn't exist! She made the cat flap! On the door! Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already. Grateful for you for affording that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, detective. After all, look at the evidence, 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 look at the evidence. Look at the evidence, look at the evidence. What is it? What is it? What is it? What's it? Whew, those vicious teeth look like they could rip through almost anything. They're good, aren't they? We have a special alloy developed for the job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second, so get through any door at any time at all. What are the two parts at the top there? Those are for attaching hinges to the door that gets cut out. Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat of even the toughest doors. Sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it's used for, but it feels like the reality of the cat flap-o-matic is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction. Ah. So what am I looking for here? I guess nothing. Alright. The die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes! The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? This is down to me. I have to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, trial will end badly. You're right. That means we should save the game. My lord, the defense requests cross-examination! Further cross-examination. The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates you may not cross-examine a witness now. Defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. Ah, right, we've only interrupted the cross-examination. Well done, Holmes! We're going to ask to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. The court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. You're gonna go to jail. Woo! This is my courtroom. I concur the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the examination. I will not permit unremitting protraction of the proceedings. Therefore, I've decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness testimony and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it. A single chance to present evidence. Oh, no. Hold on, I need to pause the game. I need to take a short break before we do this. This is too much pressure.